It is snowing like crazy at the moment. This is actually a pretty serious front-end impact right here. By the way, 8:09 p.m. Oh shoot! What does the old weather station here say? 976 millibars. Alright, hello everybody and welcome back to yet another winter storm video of the Feb25 chain. This video is going to be Winter Storm Jett! So Winter Storm Jett is going to be a major winter storm across much of the United States, well, mostly the northern United States. It is going to have impacts stretching all the way up and down the east coast with severe weather to the south, and there are going to be impacts stretching through the Midwest and the Northeast. There is going to be heavy snow on the northern end of the storm. As you can see, we are going to be having front-end snow here in New England. If I could focus, that would be great if I could. And it's going to be amounting to 0 inches, according to this app. And then we're going to be having a lot of rain tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but, you know, Sunday. It is midnight, it's like just after midnight. So, technically, I'm going to be saying Saturday is tomorrow, but, you know, this is what we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at an estimated 0 inches of snow before we move on to an estimated 1.4 inches of rain. It's going to be a lot. We also have a major wind threat with this system. We are going to be seeing 20-mile-an-hour winds with gusts in the 50s, potentially. And then we will have a very windy day following Winter Storm Jett, which is going to be a multi-day storm, and temperatures are going to be plummeting, resulting in a major freeze. This is going to be a big one, and I do expect some major impacts out of this. And now, back on the radar is Winter Storm Kingston for next week. Or technically, well, yeah, next week still, because we haven't really ended this week yet. And it's also going to be a potentially major winter storm, possibly even a blizzard. We are still working out the details for Winter Storm Kingston, but basically the story goes as follows. Initially, we were forecasting Winter Storm Kingston earlier this week, and it was expected to become a major winter storm, dropping down into the 970s or 960s, and barely making its way up into New England, doing that thing where, you know, sits underneath New England and then moves off to the southeast when it's done. And models backed off of that forecast, or solution actually, for a few days, and now, as of yesterday, it is back on the radar and expected to impact New England. So, forecasts have jumped around quite a bit, and now they have centered back on the solution of New England is going to be seeing some pretty major impacts from Winter Storm Kingston, which is going to be the next video. We're going to be seeing how that unfolds on Thursday to Friday next week. It's going to be probably the biggest storm of the entire chain, and possibly could be the conclusion to the Feb25 chain, but that is yet to be determined because who knows, there could be even more storms lurking out there. It's been a very active period so far. We are about to enter storm number 5 of the Feb25 chain. It's going to be crazy. We're going to be looking at what happens with Winter Storm Jett in this video, and we'll get to Winter Storm Kingston later, because that one's still, you know, it's not necessarily a week out anymore. It's actually getting kind of close, so I'm assuming forecasts are going to be zeroing in on a solution of potentially a very major winter storm. And people have said that usually the caboose snowstorm, as it's called, which ends a whole chain of storms, is usually the big one. We're going to be seeing if that really is the case when we get to Winter Storm Kingston, but for now, Winter Storm Jett is the focus. Right now, it is 23 degrees, cloudy, not too bad outside, but it's also pretty cold, and of course there's going to be a massive cold wave following Winter Storm Jett. That cold wave will last into when Winter Storm Kingston is expected to impact, so it's just going to be even further misery on top of already being miserable from the impacts of Winter Storm Jett. And yeah, basically we had a sudden stratospheric warming for the second time this winter. I have observed it myself. There is currently high pressure over the North Pole, and that is resulting in the polar vortex splitting and being forced down to the mid-latitudes. So we're going to be getting some extraordinarily cold air for this time of the year. Because, well, we are now in the second half of February officially, and usually this is the kind of stuff you'd see in January. So, yeah, by now usually the averages get a little bit higher, and lo and behold, it's getting cold again. We already dealt with this kind of Arctic air in January for pretty much the entire month. Now, the second half of February is looking to be just like the entirety of January was. Not good. This has been quite a winter so far. So we will be getting into the main segment of the storm soon enough. It is a little ways out still, but I just want to show you. Well, first of all, I'm going to talk about a recap of what has happened so far, and then I'm going to be going over the preparations that I am taking and how I am preparing for the storm, and what is going to be going on over the weekend as Winter Storm Jett is impacting the region. So, in terms of what has already happened, so far we have had 4 storms in the Feb25 storm chain. Winter Storm Freya, which was kind of a joke. It was the weakest storm, basically, of the entire chain. Well, actually, it was, but I think Ileana may have tied with that now. But yeah, Winter Storm Freya was a pretty weak one. Not much of significance. A little bit of front-end snow, and then some back-end rain, and a little bit of wind, but it was pretty weak. Then we had Winter Storm Garnet, giving us a total of 7.5 inches of snow. And that snow is actually still on the ground as we speak. Not all of it, but some of it, even with Ileana and some warm temperatures following that, because we were on the warm front side. Not all the snow is melted, there's still plenty on the ground, and we are expected to get front-end snow from Jett. So it's going to be building on top of the snow that we still have, not to mention that it got colder today. Any rain that came from Ileana has frozen, which wasn't a whole lot. But there's going to be way more from Jett, and that is what I'm concerned about. Then, of course, the third storm was Harlow. Harlow actually had some very major impacts in Virginia specifically, but the heart of Harlow was well to the center of us, and I thought that it would have missed New England completely, and turns out I was wrong. The northern edge of Harlow did end up dropping an extra 1.5 inches of snow up here, which took me by surprise. And then, of course, storm number 4 was Ileana, which was kind of like Freya, you know, a little bit of front-end snow, and then some back-end rain, and it was pretty weak. It was not really much to speak of. So now, we have Winter Storms Jett and Kingston on the horizon. They are both expected to be major. We're going to be seeing how they pan out. Winter Storm Jett is going to definitely be one of the biggest ones of the year so far. It's a massive system in terms of size, not really in terms of intensity. The intensity isn't going to be getting all too high, but it's got a very large precipitation field. Something's beeping out there, I don't know what that is. But very large precipitation field, and it's also going to have very extensive impacts. And what I mean by that is 24 plus hours worth of precipitation and impacts. That's the gist of it. You know, it's going to be some front-end snow for like several hours, and then moving into nearly 24 hours straight of rain, and some winds, of course, with the warm front being over in this area. And yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. That's what we're expecting out of Winter Storm Jett. Now, let me run you through what's going to be going down. I am not going to be staying here at Wiley for the weekend, because I have a dentist appointment on President's Day, which is 17th on the calendar here. So I have to head to my hometown, and that's where I'm going to be for the weekend. So I am planning to make the move tomorrow before Winter Storm Jett moves in. Hopefully I will make it on time, and I am going to be bringing some of my preparation equipment with me, just in case anything were to go wrong. In terms of preparedness, I have my EcoFlow Delta 3 Plus. This will be able to handle very large, particularly large loads, up to 1800 watts. It's currently got a decent charge in it, 87%. I'm going to top it off. I'm going to make sure I also bring the power cord for it so I can recharge it off of AC. And I do have an XT60, the car charger thing, back at home as well, so I don't have to bring a second one of those. And of course I've also got my EcoFlow River 2 Max here, which is at 83% right now. I've used this daily to charge my phone. It's done great at that, so that's why it has a little bit less of a charge. I've also got my 100-watt solar panel, but given I'm only going to be at home for a couple of days, I'm going to be leaving that panel here because it's a pretty large item and I don't want to bother transporting it if I'm not even going to use it, because I don't expect to be able to use it at all while I'm home because it's going to be storming out pretty much the whole time. I don't think there's going to be any sunlight that I can get, so the panel is not really going to serve any purpose. So I'm going to be bringing probably both of my EcoFlows, maybe just one, I don't actually know yet. And I've also got my radio, that's of course coming with me. And of course, weather radio here. This is the weather radio that I like to keep in my bedroom. I do have the WR120 back home, so I'm going to be leaving this radio here, that way I can also lighten the load on what I have to carry. If there were to be a power outage, this thing has batteries in it, so it should be good. And of course there is my UPS, which is going to keep my stuff here powered if there's a power outage, at least for a little bit of time. So my lamp and this humidifier here will stay connected to the internet. My thermohydrometer here will also retain its internet connection because it operates off of batteries. And of course this building also has a generator, so if there's going to be an extended power outage, which I kind of doubt there will be, but I don't doubt the possibility of a power outage for like several hours in the day or something, because there will be some decently strong winds and there's going to be back-end freezing. So there could be some moderately long power outages, but I don't expect multiple days worth of outages. However, if that does end up being the case, somehow this building does have a generator and there is one emergency outlet per apartment. This down here is the emergency outlet, red and labeled emergency. That is where generator power will come from. And that, if you can hopefully see, is what we still have left from Garnett and Harlow, and maybe by some extent Ileana. The snow depth has not completely zeroed out, so things are going to get wild, and it definitely is going to pose a significant flooding risk because there's expected to be a ton of rain with winter storm Jett. So tomorrow afternoon, hopefully before the snow starts, I'm going to be heading back home to my house where I live, my hometown. And the snow is going to be starting later in the afternoon/evening hours, and we are going to be getting an estimated 0 inches according to the weather app. That's just here though. Let's look at my hometown, where we are going to be getting the snow starting up a bit later, continuing for a bit longer. It's a little bit further north, and there's also going to be more rain. Won't get quite as warm. Here it's expected to be like 50s, and let's see, just going to be an estimated 0 inches of snow there as well. And of course, this is what we get for precipitation on Sunday. Doesn't look like the winds will be as impactful, but still pretty impactful, because winds are going to be out of the south at the peak, and this is the southern coast of New England where I am right now, so of course that's where the wind will be the strongest. But 50-mile-an-hour gusts on Monday, so that's gonna be pretty bad. Not to mention how steep the temperature drop-off is. So I will see you tomorrow, and we're gonna be seeing how Winter Storm Jett unfolds. This is probably going to be a very long video because, well, this is gonna be a very long storm. So hopefully you are ready. It's going to be a long one, but hopefully I get some good content out of this because it looks like this is going to be a pretty major storm. Alright, it's now Saturday afternoon and the alerts have been issued. We currently have, in effect for both locations I'm going to be in, a high wind watch and a winter weather advisory. And the wind forecast has only gotten crazier as time has gone on. We are now looking at gusts up to 58 miles an hour here, while Winter Storm Jett is impacting us. And then on Monday, the winds will be a little bit weaker, thankfully. This is all going to be happening tomorrow. Today looks to be relatively calm in terms of winds, because it's just going to be the front end snow moving in. That's going to be the winter weather advisory. Not as concerned about that. And then, hometown. We also are now seeing a well-developed spike here as well. And then on Monday, the winds get a lot stronger. So overall, it's not looking very good. Looks like we're going to be having some pretty severe winds. We are even seeing this on weather.com. If I go to hourly here, it does see snow possible after 4 p.m. and that's when the snow is going to start moving in. We've got the high wind watch. Rare high risk threats, that's for the south. Of course, there's going to be flood risks pretty much up and down the east coast. You can see for today we're going to be very calm in terms of winds, but there will be snow later on, so that's going to be happening. Then we have rain/freezing rain. This is going to be very dangerous. Alert level 3. So, that's not good. And then, as you can see, 6 p.m. tomorrow, showers, wind. We have sustained winds of 20 miles an hour. And Monday we're getting some much higher sustained winds. It's gonna be very crazy in terms of, well, a lot actually. Pretty much everything is on the table here. And this winter storm has been developing crazy fast. So yeah, it's a massive system. We are getting every threat you can think of. Snow, freezing rain, rain, strong winds, a bitter Arctic blast on the backside. It's got everything, so this is definitely going to be a high stakes, high impact winter storm. I have prepared to the best of my ability, as you can see with my EcoFlows, one there and one there. So hopefully I am ready for this thing. It seems like it's going to be a very, very impactful winter storm. So, yeah, it starts later tonight. I'm going to be back home by then, and I'll see you for when the snow starts up. And then tomorrow is probably going to be the craziest day, followed by Monday, which is also going to be pretty crazy. This is going to be very impactful. So, yeah, a lot's about to unfold, and I really hope that I've prepared to the best of my ability, or that I've prepared enough for this storm. It is a little after 3 p.m. I'm supposed to be heading home soon, so I'm going to be preparing to do that in just a bit. And once again, this is what we are looking at. Currently decently cold out, and we're going to get some front-end snow. Definitely not 0 inches, you know. It's going to be probably around 2 inches worth of front-end snow. And a bunch of rain, which there's going to be massive flooding potential out of that. Winds will spike in the early evening tomorrow. It's going to be very strong winds. Monday will also be very windy, and temperatures will plummet. So everything's going to freeze over. And we will not be above freezing until the next winter storm comes in. That's really bad. And this is what we're looking at for Winter Storm Kingston right now. It says 6.85 inches, but that is probably a minimum estimate at this point. Because this graph is saying a lot more than 6.85 inches. This is saying potentially a foot plus. We've got to watch how this continues to be forecasted, how we're watching this storm, Winter Storm Kingston, because this is just going to be adding further misery onto what we get from Winter Storm Jett, especially since we're going to be below freezing, so anything that freezes from Winter Storm Jett will have no chance to melt before the next major winter storm comes in. I don't know if we've ever had two back-to-back truly major winter storms like this. That probably will be a first. After several smaller storms, we're about to have the two biggest ones of the season. So, I'm taking it very seriously, preparing to the best of my ability. As you can see, it is overcast and very calm out right now. And when we're on the verge of seeing a major storm, seeing it being overcast and perfectly calm like this is not a very good sign. It's a sign that some major's on the way. Not to mention, we still have snow from Winter Storm Garnet on the ground. So, yeah, I am taking no risks or chances with this. I am bringing both my ego flows with me. It's going to be a very big week for New England. Two very major winter storms. And I'm gonna refill this humidifier. It's not like it's gonna be needed tomorrow. It's probably gonna be off the whole day tomorrow, but today, definitely it's gonna have to keep running. So I'm gonna refill this before I leave and hopefully be back in time on Monday before this thing runs out of water. I could shut it off remotely if I need to. I'll know that it's gonna go for like 12 hours on a full tank. But I'm gonna go ahead and fill this before I leave. But that's all I've got for right now, and I will see you when I get to my house. Okay, back home now, and you can see still the snow from last weekend on the ground. In any case, a little bit too late, I would say. It actually started snowing while we were still on the road. So, it's, snowing out right now. That's what the weather says anyways, it's snowing. It's gonna continue to snow. Oh my god, what? Huh? A lot longer than I thought it would. That's going all the way up to 5 in the morning now before we get this switch over. It looks like there will be some mixed precipitation involved. That's not very good. So it's going to be quite a bit of snow here. So that's kind of worrying. Check the wind. Right now, obviously nothing, pretty much. But tomorrow we're going to get some pretty strong winds, and Monday especially. Strong wind. So we get this, that's happening at 5, and then rain for the rest of the day. Let's see if I can get to the precipitation chart here. Yeah, we got a dark blue bar right here. That is sleet. That isn't very good. And then we've got a bunch of snow before that. So it looks like we're going to be getting quite a bit of wintry precipitation here. That's not good. Alright, I'm going to focus in on outside. So hopefully you can see there are snowflakes falling. The snow has started. You were just a little bit too late to beat the snow, but thankfully not a lot is accumulated yet. It's just really a tiny, tiny trace, and this is a time where crews will be active enough to clear snow as it is falling. It's not like it's going to fall at a very intense rate, but there will be some front-end snow that's later going to be melted away by the rain. I suppose I should at least run through what I've got for preparation here. I was told not to bring both Vigo flows. I mean, I am only going to be here for a couple of days, so definitely easier just to bring one. So I decided on bringing the Delta 3 Plus since this has higher capacity and more output power. So I went with the safer route and brought the bigger unit just in case I will end up needing it, and there is a decent chance with the threats that we're looking at here. So I've got my Delta 3 Plus, and if there is an extended power outage, I didn't bring my oil heater. I, figured I wouldn't really need that, and it's a pretty underpowered heater anyways. If it's going to be a primary heat source, it really isn't meant to be a primary heat source. So we've got some Honeywell heaters, so I can plug one of those in and use that to stay warm if need be. I've got an electric blanket here too, so there's also that. And of course, I do have my my sensors here too. And get to see my air conditioner again, but not going to need to use that, obviously. It's the middle of winter. This is something for the summer. And throughout the rest of the house, there's a few plug-in emergency lights that are just in the plugs. I did not bring my bedroom weather radio back because, again, I'm only going to be here for 2 days. And I've got the little handheld radio anyways that has weather band support, so I don't really need the actual weather radio. And this anyways. And down here, there's one of the power failure lights that I was talking about. These will immediately provide emergency lighting if the power cuts out for any reason. And here is my weather station. It currently says it is 27 degrees outside and snowing. The pressure is oddly on the high side at 1,023 millibars, but then again, we are on the very edge of the storm. It's really only just started snowing, so I wouldn't really expect the pressure to be too low anyways, I guess. That'll probably drop as time goes on, but pretty interesting that it's still relatively high pressure. But that's what we're looking at right now. Not a lot going on. More updates will be coming later as the rest of the storm ensues. Alright, so actually you can't see really out this window, but I'll go look outside another window. I don't know if you will even see it. Oh yeah, you can see the skylight's all covered in snow already. That was a pretty good idea. And if I look outside, we have already got a good trace of snow on the ground. This snow has actually been falling faster than I expected it to so far. And it's still falling, of course. And there's a pretty good chance there will be some freezing rain as we are transitioning over to rain tomorrow. The storm is gonna pack quite a punch, so I'm not taking any chances here. Making sure that I'm gonna be good to go in the event things go wrong, which they could actually as soon as tonight. So I'll get this out of here, dismiss that. I'm currently now charging up my Delta 3 Plus. The display is off, but it's plugged in. I've got the app open. I have connected it to the internet here. And you can see it's plugged in. Its quiet fan is running. And you can see I've got it plugged in here. I suggest you don't do it like this. Daisy chaining power bars like this is not a good idea, but I can't reach the outlet all the way back there otherwise. And I have it set to only take 800 watts, so hopefully everything will be fine. But I really would not suggest doing it like this. You should always plug it directly into a wall outlet. However, we're going to make sure this is topped off for the night, because I'm probably going to be relying heavily on this thing for the next few days. Who knows? We will see what happens. Alright, this still hasn't gone off for anything, it seems. But let me just show you outside real quick. Getting certainly a lot more snow accumulating outside now. It's really hard to see, especially with the light on. So I'm gonna turn this off. And still not really very easy to see out there, but it is showing up just a tad bit. You can see all the snow on the ground. It really is better if I look out this way. I'll be able to see it a lot better because of the street light being out this direction. So let's go ahead and focus out there. Snow is still falling, and a good trace is definitely accumulated so far. Stupid blinds thing is getting in my way here. Alright, I think I got it. So that's what's going on right now. This is the best view. Stupid thing again! Can't seem to keep it out of the way here for some reason. Alright, I guess I got it for good right now. But that's what we're looking at outside. The snow's falling at a pretty steady rate and on the ground. We've got decent totals there. So yeah, it's already starting to pile up. And since we're going to be mixing over in the AM hours, that's not good. Wind will also be picking up tomorrow as the storm intensifies and draws closer. So we are looking at definitely a major multi-day system here. The skylight up there is completely covered in snow. I probably could have just shown you that, would have been a lot easier. And the current readings on the weather station, 25 degrees. So it is well below freezing, and the pressure has actually dropped just a tiny bit. 1 millibar. That's all though. Okay, it's now just after 10 p.m. on Saturday. So it is now actually snowing quite decently out there. The snow is definitely picked up. Hopefully you can see out there. Definitely would have to up the blinds for you to see better. You can maybe see a little bit through there. Let me go to a different window where it will be easier to see. This window here, holy crap. Let me, once again, like always, turn off any nearby lights so that you can see out the window with no glare. There's not really any wind right now, but it is snowing like crazy at the moment. The camera is seeing it better than I am in real life. All the snow that is falling quite rapidly. The streetlight really helps you to see it. Like, that's a game changer right there. It is falling very fast at this moment. It's quite a bit of snow. And all of this, holy crap! That's how much has accumulated so far? No, that's more than... Holy... So much has already accumulated. What the heck? I honestly could go outside and measure that. I do have a stick in here somewhere that I can measure the snow with. I don't know where exactly it is. It's in here somewhere. I'm not going to go outside and measure right now, though. It's very cold out. But somewhere here, I do believe I have a snow measuring stick. I just don't actually know where exactly it is. It might be buried. But I do have one. It's gotta be in this room somewhere. However, that has built up pretty quickly. So, yeah, the snow is definitely piling up. This is actually kind of crazy. Out this window you can probably see the actual accumulation a bit better. It definitely helped if the blinds weren't down, but I'm not going to lift them up. You can see it just fine right through there. I'm gonna go ahead and dim the lights in here. We do have this Vicks vaporizer running right now. That's helping to keep the humidity level up a little bit here. Because, yeah, today's been a cold, dry day. So that's going. Once again, here's your view of the outside. So much more snow has fallen than I expected so far. So that's not really a good sign for what is still to come. Because that is only going to say that this storm is going to be quite intense going forwards. So here's the other plug-in emergency light. And there's no way really to test it other than unplugging it. But this should provide emergency lighting should the power go out, which at the moment I do not expect that to happen because it's just snowing right now. That's it. But it might happen later when the mixed precipitation gets factored in, and especially when the wind gets factored in. There's my Delta 3 Plus. I still have it plugged in, by the way, so that I can keep it topped off. So if I check the charge level, it's still nearly 100%. It says 99. What EcoFlow will do is when it dips down to 98, it will turn the charge circuit back on and top the batteries off again. So just have to wait for it to go back down to 98, and then it will charge it back up. But that's good enough for me because this is a 1 kilowatt hour power station, so it should last long enough, you know, at least until I'd have to go back to URI for classes during the week, which is going to be in just a couple of days. So this should last me for 2 days with 1 kilowatt hour worth of capacity, I would think. And even if that isn't going to be the case, that is a-okay, because I do in fact have a way to charge it even if the power remains out over the rest of the weekend. And that is this thing right here. This is a cigarette lighter to XT60 cable. Actually, it looks like it's an XT60i, not just a regular XT60. Let me focus in on that. See the little pin there means it's an XT60i, which means it is capable of higher current. So if I need to recharge this at any point and the power is out, I can take it out to one of the cars and plug it into that, and that should recharge it with up to 8 amps worth of current. So that's going to be around, with 12 volts, that's going to be around 100 watts. It's going to be very close. It's going to be like 96. So it won't charge this back up terribly quickly, but it will do something if I need to. And Let's see if I can get a view out this window here. I'm gonna have to turn off the lamp, cause glare. And I have to do that through the Govee app. I don't feel like touching the physical switch. I have a cover over that for a reason. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually I'm not gonna go ahead and fully turn it off just yet. I'm gonna dim it down to 1% brightness and see if that will reduce the glare enough to see out the window. Alright. It's just too dark outside in general. But I can see the snow outside. Let's go ahead and turn the lamp all the way off. Hello? There it goes. Alright. Now maybe it will show up a little bit better. It really is hard to see. I think the streetlight glow is going to be like the only thing that shows up. But take my word for it, there is plenty of snow on the ground already. Like, it's a surprising amount actually. Alright. Let's turn this back on now, so that I can actually see in here. Back up to 100% brightness. There we go. That's all set. I've got my computers charging, because I really do not want to gamble on our grid being reliable enough to last through such a giant winter storm that has every threat on the table. I really don't want to be taking a gamble with that, so I'm making sure everything stays topped off. My Delta 3 Plus, my computers, everything. In fact, I can even go ahead and plug my phone in here and continue to charge that. I have to turn the USB back on here, and now my phone's charging again. I'm gonna make sure everything is staying charged and hopefully nothing goes terribly wrong, but I'm not taking any chances if that were to happen, so I'm doing everything I can to make sure everything's prepared, because there's quite a bit of snow falling. So I want to stay prepared for whatever could happen, whatever gets thrown away by Winter Storm Jett. Massive storm, and already has dumped more snow than I thought it would so far, so I'm going to go ahead and keep you updated through the night as it continues to unfold. Alright, it's been a few minutes and I've got some interesting updates on the weather app. By the way, Delta 3 Plus is now charging several things and also powering my blanket so I can stay warmer in here. Currently doing grid pass-through. My blanket does do the thing where it is on at full power for a period of time and then completely off for a period of time. So it's going to be jumping between 0 watts, like there it is right there, and nearly 100 watts, like that. Because it's rated at 100 watts. And it's going to be doing grid pass-through at the moment. And on the output side, of course, it's more than 100 watts because I'm also charging my radio and the light here that I use for my camera. In any case, here's what we're looking at in the weather app now. Down in Kingston, 31 and snowing. The snow is a little bit lighter there. It's now showing a chance of heavier snow at 3 a.m. Chance of thunderstorms at 5 a.m. That is a very recent development. I have not seen that yet at all, but the thunderstorm risk was expanded up to actually include the very southern tip of southern New England, so there's now a little bit of a thunderstorm risk tomorrow, as you can see there. So that's not good. And the precipitation amounts are now a lot higher in estimates. Also very recent development. This storm is getting worse right above our heads than we thought. There's updated wind estimate now showing potentially up to 60 miles an hour. It's saying 59 right now. It was saying 60 earlier. That is down there. And there's also a second peak showing up. That is not very strong down there. And of course the winds on Monday won't be as strong down there either. let's look up here. Ah, yes, that's just about right. Right now, heavier snow up here, which is crazy. And we still have the alerts in effect. Surprised that's not upgraded to a warning yet, because at this point I would expect it to be. The thunderstorm risk does not expand up here, and there's Winter Storm Kingston happening later in the week. And right now, not much to speak of in terms of wind, but we get a stronger initial peak of wind up here, it looks like. But then that second peak is weaker. This, I think, is very underdone, though. I won't expect it to be like 50, 60 mile an hour gusts here like it is down where URI is, but I do expect it to potentially be between like 35 and 40 here. So this is underdone, in my opinion. But then look at this. The whole day on Monday, sustained winds above 20 miles an hour, even reaching 30 in the afternoon. And gusts are going to be in the 50s, 40s to 50s all day tomorrow. And won't be subsiding too much on Tuesday. It's still going to be very windy. Look at that. At least 20 mile an hour sustained winds all the way through 10 p.m. on Tuesday. And gusts will be once again in the 40s all day until the evening hours. So once again a very windy day. Wednesday it'll finally start to subside. But then of course there's Winter Storm Kingston on Thursday. So yeah, this is what we're looking at for the forecast right now. Currently heavy snow. The shift is expected to happen at 5 a.m. here. And it looks like it's going to be generally for everywhere. And there might be pockets of freezing rain as we are shifting over, which is not good. Especially as the wind starts to move in, because the wind is going to be moving in as we are transitioning with that initial peak. So, it might start to get pretty intense here. So, yeah, I'm not going to be taking any gambling here. I'm charging up all of my equipment using my Delta 3 Plus, and keeping that topped off. It is now just dropped to 98%, so we're going to see what happens here. If it will top the batteries again, or it might just wait. I am currently powering my blanket, so I don't know if that's a factor in it. But even if it doesn't immediately recharge up to 100%, as long as I can keep it at a high charge level, should be good. But that's what we're looking at right now. This is looking to get more serious than I thought it would be. And yes, there is plenty of snow on the ground that I showed earlier, so yeah, this is where we're at right now. I'll update you later. The snow is continuing to accumulate. This isn't even real. What the heck? So much has fallen just within the past like 4 or 5 hours. And still falling at a pretty intense rate out there. I'll give you a shot with the light off in a second. Here's your update on the actual conditions outside from a more trusted source. It is still 26 degrees out, still well below freezing, and relative humidity is actually decently high outside, 84%, but of course because it's so cold, that means the dew point is probably like 25, 24 degrees out there. So the indoor relative humidity, even though it's only 65 in this room, is 39%. 66 it just went up to, but it's probably a little bit warmer than that in the actual room, because this is right on the wall, and the wall's pretty cold. That thing down there is also reading 65. Maybe it is actually 65 in this room. In any case, turn that off for a second here. This is quite the amount of snowfall. Wow. Perhaps you can see a little at the back too. Let me go ahead and turn this on. That's what we're looking at out the back. Alright. Yeah. This is more than I thought it would be. Wow. This is actually a pretty serious front end impact right here, which I wasn't expecting. You can even see the tree in the distance. This is an automatic light, so it's got a motion sensor on it, so yeah, I'll just turn the whole thing off now. Of course, the ready light is still on my plug-in emergency lights. That will remain the case until the power does go out. If it does, which there's actually a pretty good chance it might. Still don't really have any New England power outages to report. But further to the south, there has been some activity, probably from the severe weather. We have Kentucky now at 10,000, yellow. Looks like the east saw impacts from severe weather events. Virginia, this is probably still following Harlow. But up here, only 3 in Massachusetts. And it's up here. But that's obviously not from the storm. 39 Connecticut, and it's still like nothing. 0, 0, 0, and 141. So, yeah, not really anything going on in terms of power outages just yet. That's probably going to be not until the mixing and the wind is factored in. And one little detail I forgot to update you on is the snow total forecast now has gone up. We've so far had 1.75 inches here and are expecting another 4.55 inches of precipitation in the next 24 hours. Not all that is going to be snow. We're going to be getting like an inch of rain afterwards, so we can actually say that that's going to be 3.5 more inches of snow. But that's still going to be 5+ inches of snow, which is double what we were forecasting. We were forecasting like 2 inches of snow. And of course, down at the university, 2.75 inches so far. It did start a little bit earlier down there, and 5.3 inches expected. And of course, down there, there's also going to be what on the earth? This is actually saying thunder snow. Look at that. Wow. This is, of course, also going to be maybe 1.5 inches of rain down there. So, once again, can round that down. Let's say, once again, 3.8 maybe. But that's still going to be, looks like 6 inches of snow down there. Holy crap. So much more than we were forecasting. So, yeah, this has gotten quite insane. And of course, it looks like the heavy band, the initial heavy band might be on its way out, but there's still going to be some pretty steady snow throughout the night. So, yeah, that's what we're looking at. This is insane. Certainly was not expecting there to be this much. Wow. Well, I just came here to do a thumbnail shot with all the snow on the ground. I just saw a raccoon go across the yard. It's gone now, but in the distance you can actually kind of see its tracks. Well, here's your update at 2:19 a.m. now on Sunday. The map is starting to light up a little bit on poweroutage.us. We have Kentucky and Virginia. They're getting hit by some severe weather. But the main activity of thunderstorms and severe weather is actually down here. Alabama and Mississippi are both orange. They are getting closer to 100,000 outages. Louisiana is now at 31,000. And we're even starting to have some issues closer to home. Connecticut has almost 2,000 outages, and Rhode Island has almost 500 outages. And every single one of the outages in Rhode Island happens to be in Washington County, which is a little unsettling, because that is where my university is, so that's not good. However, we still have no activity going on here in Massachusetts, and northern New England is still the same as well. I'm wondering if we're getting a little bit of activity in southern New England because the transition to rain is starting down there, because it is starting to get into the AM hours a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and check the weather. It's still snow here, and it's still below freezing, so no changes here. But there is now a thunderstorm chance, it looks like. So, yeah, a very surprising development. The thunderstorm risk has actually stretched up all the way up to New England. And it is mid-February, so we should not be seeing thunderstorms. So that's just crazy. And of course, down there, still snow, it says, but it's gonna get above freezing pretty soon, so I'm wondering if that has anything to do with it. Heavier, wetter snow, I would guess. Looks like some heavier bands are gonna be moving in. Oops, that's the radar, which I guess you can see the whole swath here. But yeah, we've got a pretty large precipitation field with Jett. And let's go ahead and... yeah, you can see we've got even larger chance down there for thunderstorms. This is a very crazy development. There is not a lot of wind to speak of down there, but of course we still have this huge spike here in the evening. So that's kind of concerning. I think that's just a plow truck outside making that noise. Here, where we still have the snow, and it's still below freezing, the wind is starting to pick up a little bit, as you can see. And it's going to be at the first peak between 6 and 10 a.m. And then we have this second peak happening at 6 p.m. It's going to be a lot stronger further south, though. And then all of Monday is going to be the third peak. And it's going to get crazy strong. So, yeah. We've got some developments on poweroutage.us, a little concerning. Don't worry, my EcoFlow is still charged. So, it'll be ready to go if the power does go out here, which I'm starting to get a little concerned that it might, because we're getting these developments. So let me go ahead and it's dark out here, we got all the lights off, but let's go ahead and take a look outside. And let me go up here by this window. And ooh, that's not good. So if I can get in here and zoom in on the street light and focus in on it. It's probably hard to tell because it's dark, but there's icicles forming on that street light. Of course, it is still snowing. Plenty of snow on the ground. A lot more than we were expecting. And looks pretty calm in terms of wind, but the trees are moving a little bit, so yeah, the wind is starting to move in. Let's see if I can get a better view from a different room. we obviously have all the lights off because it's the middle of the night. Let's go ahead and actually check my weather station. Alright. That's what we got right now, 29.3 degrees, 94% relative humidity outside, and we light that up one more time. The pressure is now down to 1015 millibars. It's gone down a bit. You know, it's the center of the storm's moving closer. And from this window here, that's a pretty good view. Yep, you can see the snow is still falling. I'm gonna try and zoom in on the streetlight, because trust me, there are icicles starting to develop on that. I really don't know if you can tell. Hopefully you can. But yeah, snow has been falling for several hours at this point, and we have several inches of accumulation to prove that. It is very surprising. Thank you, plow truck. Lighten up more of the ground, and of course plowing the snow out of the way. That is the noise that you're hearing, is that plow truck. Glad that they actually care about tertiary roads like this. Otherwise, definitely would not be able to get out if this was a pure snow event. Which, don't worry, there will be rain on the way, but a lot of front-end snow has fallen. A lot more than we thought would, so that's kind of concerning, especially for the flooding risk and all the melting that's going to occur. And anything else that might happen. And it's already warming up a little bit. In fact, enough that there are icicles developing on the streetlight out there. Because the streetlight obviously is generating a little bit of heat on its own. There is still snow falling in smaller flakes now. Compared to earlier, we had large flakes. But snow is still falling, and the precipitation will not stop. It is going to continue all the way through the day. And it will transition to rain in a few hours. And yet there is definitely some wind now. The snow is blowing. Not a lot of wind, but the wind is definitely getting factored in now. And you can see the light back there. Hopefully. Yeah. Flashing lights, that is from the plow truck. Okay, looks like it just moved out. But yeah, plow trucks are clearing the roads. It's such a picturesque sight out there. If only you could see it, but it's not really easy to see because it is, of course, the middle of the night. I can see it in real life, but the camera is like barely picking it up. It is kind of picking it up, but not a lot. This is the best camera that I have for low light recording. It actually does the best at night with compared to all of my other cameras I could use. So this is the best that you're gonna get, realistically, without me having to use any lighting. I could probably turn up the brightness and stuff in Premiere, but yeah, this is the view that we got here. And well, Winter Storm Jett so far has packed a lot more of a punch than I thought it would, and if that's a sign for how the rest of the storm's gonna go, I'm rather concerned. Oh, it's raining now. The wind has picked up a little bit. There is still snow on the ground, but it is being melted by the rain. Doesn't look very good over there. Quite a bit of snow fell last night, as you saw. And that is all now being melted away by the fact that it is raining. Oh, here's what it looks like out the front. Kind of a mess, actually, because so much snow fell. Look at work. Let's see. Down that way, yeah. I'm gonna go to a different one. This one, as I've been doing time and time again. Yeah. The skylight, the snow is melted off of that for the most part. But there's still a little bit on the corner there. And I guess I could check the weather station while I'm down here. It now says, now has a thunderstorm on it. The pressure is now below 1,000 millibars. So that's more than I was expecting. But that's not a good thing. I just turned my computer on and oh my god. All up and down the East Coast. Louisiana, 11,000. Alabama, 91,000. Mississippi, 29,000. Georgia, 163,000. Tennessee, 27,000. North Carolina, 49,000. Virginia, 54,000. West Virginia, 33,000. Kentucky, 39,000. Pennsylvania, 13,000. New York, 13,000. Connecticut, 17,000. Rhode Island, 1,400. Massachusetts, 851. Northern New England seems to be fine, though. So, a lot of activity overnight. Nothing locally, though, so we're fine now. For now, I mean. But we'll continue watching it throughout the day. Alright, looking at the precipitation graph. We definitely got like 3/4 inches worth of rain so far. And it says the total for the last 24 hours is 6.55 inches, so that means we got nearly 6 inches of snow before it changed over. I will be keeping my eyes on the map here on poweroutage.us because it is lit up like crazy right now up and down the East Coast. On the outside, still plenty of snow on the ground. It is kind of a mess now because it warmed up and it's raining. But we have really seen a mess of a storm so far. And pressure is still dropping. We're now down to 993 millibars. 37.7 degrees. It is above freezing, but not by too much. And it's still calling for thunderstorms and now has wind included in that as well. As you can see by the squiggly lines above the clouds there. That might be because the pressure is dropping so quickly. That's what the weather station is making its assumption based off of. It does based forecast of what's going to happen off of both the temperature and the change in pressure. So, since the pressure is dropping pretty quickly now, it is expecting some rather unsettled and stormy conditions, and it's probably more correct than the actual weather services, because historically that has been the case. It was better with recording the actual temperature and humidity during the heat waves over the summer. And it also did a better job calling for snow or rain when the weather didn't. So I trust the weather station more than I trust the actual weather apps and services. But anyways, we've got a pretty big mess out there of snow and ice and rain and other stuff. And that's just going to continue to happen throughout the day today. This is officially day 2 of Winter Storm Jett, and it's still lingering. By the way, if I go pull up the radar, you will see... You actually get the radar. Right now, I'm going to show you 2 radars, actually. First, I'm going to show you this radar. So, that's right here. Let me go ahead and zoom out so that you can see the whole US there. Just so I can show you how large this system is. It is humongous. It's going all the way from Quebec, Canada, down into the Gulf Coast. Let's also go to weather.com. Alright, so that's what we're looking at. Rain likely for hourly weather. Much rain. Gonna be windy later as well. Let's go to today. So we can see the radar here. Look at that. Still mixed precipitation occurring further to the north. It's not very good. If I click on the radar here, I can expand it. And I can zoom out here. And you can see the true extent of this system. It is massive. Alright, get that out of here so I can see it better. Go ahead and also hide the menu. This has to be one of the largest winter storms I have ever seen. Definitely even larger than Finn from last year. That was a pretty massive one. So, yeah. It's a very, very crazy storm that we've got here. And you can tell by the fact that, you know, multiple days worth of precipitation from one storm system, not a very normal thing. It was snowing all last night. It changed over to rain in the early AM hours, and it's been raining since, and it has not stopped. And it's now 1:34 p.m. And it's expected to continue all the way through tonight. And then when the storm moves out, the wind really picks up on the backside, bringing in a bitter Arctic blast with it, which will cause everything to freeze over. Which once again is not good. So there's 3 distinct stages to this storm. The front end snow, which you can see a ton of it is still left behind. The rain, which is what's going on right now. And then the wind and Arctic blast, which will be tomorrow. There's been historic amounts of flooding down south in the more southern states, which honestly that makes sense because there is a crazy severe weather event down there. And lots of rain, because this system is gigantic. And of course, that is all starting to move its way up here as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we have historic amounts of flooding all up and down the East Coast. We've seen it, at least south of Pennsylvania so far, like Virginia, Kentucky, they've recorded historic flooding. There's been some crazy severe weather in the southeast states, like Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, which I showed on poweroutage.us. They have a lot of outages in those states right now. This has been absolutely insane so far. Not a lot has happened up here just yet except for the snow and the rain. But definitely things will be picking up. Because, yeah, this is a massive storm. And it's already caused some historic events further to the south. And it's only a matter of time before all of that catches up with us and moves its way up through the new northeast states, the mid-Atlantic states and New England. It's only going to be a matter of time. You know, with the snow melt and all the rain, that's going to be grounds for similar levels of flooding up here as well. And then everything is going to freeze on the backside with these very strong winds moving in. Well, it's raining pretty heavily now. I think that's showing up. Yeah, we got some heavier rain coming down. Still plenty of snow on the ground though. But it is being melted and there is definitely a serious flooding risk as of now. So, with that being said, let's refresh everything here and get the latest on what's going on. Holy crap. We got some more orange states. West Virginia is now up to 63,000. North Carolina is now up to 57,000. Louisiana is down to 3,000, so Louisiana is out of the woods. Connecticut has gone up to 22,000. Rhode Island is down to only 1,000. Massachusetts is up to 1,300, that's not good. And northern New England, still pretty much nothing. We have one in Plymouth County now. A lot of the outages are in Suffolk County, which is right where Boston is. So obviously something's going on up there. Right now we have 40 degrees heavy rain. Looks like we are in a lull for the winds at the moment as the direction is changing. But don't you worry, the winds will get much stronger tomorrow. Let's see. Holy crap. Look at that radar. We've got some very intense and heavy rain moving in right now. Look at that. And down there the wind is just slightly stronger. You can see that. Tomorrow is going to be very, very windy. So that's probably why outages are now on the rise for New England. But of course, there's also a lot still going on down in this area. Georgia is still red with 103,000 people out. Mostly focused in western Georgia, it looks like. Yeah, they must have gotten hit very hard with severe weather. Of course, these are also the areas here that I've been seeing historic flooding. I'm now expecting that to move up here, along with, you know, the wind threat and the back end freezing, which is going to be really bad. So, strap in. It's going to be a very wild ride. Oh, here's also down here. definitely think that's showing up. Like, look at how heavy the rain is now. I mean, I've seen worse, but it's pretty heavy. And it's going to be causing problems on the pool cover, of course. It's not good. The weather station says 38.3 degrees, still forecasting thunderstorms with wind. The pressure is now 989 millibars. That's not good. Of course, while we're on the topic of air pressure, my barometer in here, the needle is way to the left. So that is indicative of really, really low pressure, which is a bad sign. Things are about to unfold like crazy. Well, would you look at that? The rain just got like 5 times more intense. Now it's really coming down. Yeah. We're gonna be getting down to like just below 29.0 inches of mercury, or somewhere around 980 millibars at the peak for pressure right here. And look at all that snow that's being melted by the rain. We actually got some little puddles starting to form. Yeah. Mentioned that it was not a good sign to see such an eerie calm with overcast skies before a storm like this. When you're seeing the pressure drop this low, that's another pretty bad sign. Things are about to get pretty wild. Yeah. Outdoor relative humidity is pretty high, and of course the indoor relative humidity, since the temperature outside increased, that's now also going up. So hopefully, because it looks like my humidifier back at Wiley ran out of water, just based on the temperature graphs, or the temperature and humidity graphs. But hopefully, you know, the surge of moisture that we're getting from Winter Storm Jett, since we're on the warm front side, will allow for us to not need to use humidifiers to keep the humidity levels up. But I can't really actually guarantee that. It's starting to rain pretty heavy right now. So, yeah, this isn't very good. We're also in we're at a calm point in terms of the wind right now. Because we're, in that little hole where we're changing from winds coming out of the east to now coming out of the south. Since, yeah, we're at a turning point of the storm, basically. That very front end, when it was beginning to move in, it was driving like this, so it had bands moving ashore, basically. So the winds were coming out of the east. This is getting pretty heavy. And now that the warm front has pretty much pushed through, or is currently pushing through, that's now going to be changing the wind directions to come out of the south instead. And they're in between those two periods, we're going to be having a little bit of a calm spot in terms of the wind. But it's about to pick back up in like an hour or so. Of course, right now we're just getting heavy rain on the leading edge of that warm front. But the wind is going to be making a return. And yeah, the potential for thunderstorms is, of course, there, because we're working with a decent amount of moisture. Even this far north, there's apparently a chance of thunderstorms. So, things are getting pretty interesting. And, yeah. Particularly heavy band of rain moving through right now, and look at what it's doing outside. That is some aggressive snow melt caused by the rain. And there are puddles forming. Flooding risk is going up for sure. I think we are going to have a bad few days following this. Including today, actually. Last night, a whole bunch of snow fell, and based on the precipitation totals that I looked at, I estimate around 5.5 to 6 inches of snow fell across southern New England in general. And now we are getting a whole bunch of rain, which is going to be melting all of that snow, not to mention all the rain on top of that snow. It's going to be a lot of liquid water that's going to be on the ground, which is all going to freeze when that Arctic front moves through, meaning things are going to get very bad, because we also got to factor in the wind tomorrow as well. So things are looking pretty bad right now in terms of what's going to happen in the near future. We're really going to have to do something about the pool. This isn't good. And we really had to deal with a hybrid storm to this magnitude quite yet. This is definitely the biggest one of the season so far. Not only in terms of intensity, but I showed you the radar loops earlier. It is massive. It is stretching all the way from Canada down to the Gulf Coast, which is huge. I haven't seen a storm this big since Finn last year. And Finn was a pretty strong one. Although its effects were also very temporary, because it had a very fast-moving warm front and a cold front on the back side of it, or front side of it, I mean. This storm definitely is taking its time and growing in intensity as it's actually moving closer to New England, so yeah, there definitely were more extreme impacts from this compared to Finn. But that's not to say that Finn wasn't impactful either. So, yeah, we're getting definitely some flooding rains now. Seems like it's calming down. We just passed through a pretty heavy band, but that is where we're at right now, and I'm kind of concerned for what's going to happen. So I'm going to keep you updated through today and tomorrow. This is a pretty big storm, and I actually don't know how far into the video we are, probably at least an hour, and there's still plenty more to go. So yeah, I told you, it's going to be a long one, because this is a huge storm. In terms of the central pressure, I think the central pressure is only going down to like the 970s or something, but it's got a pretty wide low pressure field, as you can see. Because even here, and we're not even that close to the low center, it's 989 millibars. So yeah, we're getting some pretty bad weather right now. But that's all I've got for right now. I'll update you later, stay tuned. This storm's probably gonna get pretty bad. Oh, the driveway is screwed. Oh my god. And it's hard to see through a rain-soaked window, but the sidewalk, there's water building up on that. Really isn't easy to see that. And there's also a giant snow/ice sheet on the driveway. That's not good. So, yeah, a bunch of rain. This is going to be leading to some massive problems. Thankfully, the roads have been cleared out, so I don't think we're going to have any problems on the roads, but sidewalks flooding and a driveway looks to be a big mess. And that's going to be indefinitely harder to clear out now than if it was just all snow. This is getting pretty problematic. This is crazy intense now. That definitely is showing up as pretty heavy rain. And you can see the effect it's having back there. That's not very good. It's actually pretty resemblant of Grayson. Haven't seen flooding like this since Grayson, but Grayson, it was all in the form of coastal flooding, and Grayson was pretty much a full snow system here. But it has been years since we have seen storms like this. And the noise that you're hearing, that's from water being drained out of the gutters, because there's so much of it right now. We're definitely entering that flooding period, and I wouldn't be surprised if some problems start to arise soon, more than they already have been, because we've already got a huge mess of snow and sleet and rain and stuff. A whole bunch of wintry mess outside. And some areas are starting to see some water buildup. So yeah, already having problems, but I wouldn't be surprised if even more starts showing up soon. Alright, so it's now 5:21 p.m. on Sunday, February 16th. This is the poweroutage.us map now, and you can see, well, New York has gone back blue. It's now below 10,000. Louisiana has gone back blue a while ago. Tennessee is back blue again, but we now have Virginia at 200,000 PTSD from Winter Storm Harlow, and now Maryland Maryland is at 103,000, so both of those are red. Pennsylvania has gone orange, West Virginia has gone orange, Georgia's orange, which it was red earlier, so that's an improvement actually. And locally we are now having some problems too. Connecticut is now up to 28,000. Rhode Island is still sitting at 167, but if I click on Rhode Island, let's see, we got 88 in Washington County. The rest are probably all the way up in Providence County. 19. Okay, that's not the rest. So they're in a variety of counties there. But Massachusetts now has 3,000 outages, and they are pretty much everywhere throughout Massachusetts. We have about half of them in Essex County. We have 383 in Barnstable County, 1 in Plymouth County, 47 there, 860 where Boston is, 262 Middlesex County. And less the further west you go, but pretty much everywhere there are outages except for the islands. So that's not very good. Let's see what we're looking at for right now for conditions. And we've got just a drizzle. It's still going to keep raining, but I think we are beyond the heaviest of it. So now the real threat's going to be the wind, because that is starting to pick up a little bit, as you can see there. You can see it's starting to ramp up. And as we get closer to tomorrow, it's going to get closer to this, the strong wind, which is concerning. Alright, in Kingston we have some stronger wind down there, It looks like it has backed off in intensity compared to what it was being forecasted as yesterday. They were saying like 60-mile-an-hour gusts. Now it only goes up to like 40. So, yeah, the intensity of the wind today has backed off, but tomorrow it's still looking to be very strong. And the wind is starting to get started here, so it's not good. And it's also getting dark outside, so nighttime's rolling in, so yeah, I've got my light turned on already. And things are unfolding, you know, that's what we're looking at. Don't worry, my Delta 3 Plus still holding on to just about a full charge there. It's currently passing 100-something watts through because, well, on occasion 100-something watts coming through because I've got my blanket on right now. So that's that, but it's staying charged up, and should the power go out, it will be ready for service. But that's where we're at right now. My barometer, I get up, show a closer shot of that. The needle is even further to the left than it was earlier. In fact, that is off the chart now. That is below the minimum reading that this thing can take, which is under 29 inches of mercury. However, I'm not sure I calibrated it entirely correctly, so let's go to the weather station. Yeah, this is what we're looking at outside. Doesn't look great. The pool cover is going to be a mess once this is all said and done. The weather station, we are looking now at 981 millibars, so an even more significant pressure drop. And the temperature is even starting to drop back down. I'm pretty sure it was 38 earlier, now it's 37.7. So now that's starting to decrease again, and that's a sign that, you know, we're going to be starting to plummet down to those Arctic frigid temperatures, and the winds are going to be building on top of that, and everything is wet outside. Pressure is still dropping. Not looking very good. We're about to enter probably the most concerning phase of this winter storm. Alright, even later in the evening, 7:24 p.m., this has dropped even lower. It's not realistically designed to be pointing that low, actually. So, really is not a good sign. I took a look at poweroutage.us. A third state is now red. There. Pennsylvania has gone red. Also, we now have New Jersey in the ring at 72,000 outages. Connecticut's at 25,000. It hasn't really dropped much. But yeah, there's Pennsylvania, there's New Jersey. Let's look at Pennsylvania. Yeah, that's not good. Massachusetts is now up to 4,000. And we now have 3,000 in New Hampshire as well. So yeah. New England is now feeling the impacts. Outside, doesn't really look like much is going on. I guess you can kind of tell over there. The roads are very, very wet and washed out. And there is also, it might be hard to tell, but there is still snow on the ground where roads were not cleared and stuff. I mean, the roads were cleared, but anywhere that wasn't cleared of the snow is still there. Just like last time, not all of it was able to melt. They're in here. Oh geez, that's bad. 978 millibars. That's very bad. So with the pressure that low, that's we might be seeing some very strong winds moving in, and that's exactly what's happening. Don't want you to fall asleep there. Winds are on the upswing now, and will continue to increase through the night until we get to very strong winds. Most of the precipitation is done by now, but now the wind in the Arctic blast is coming into play. The pressure has dropped down to 978 millibars here, which is very intense. That's not good. Alright, we have another rain band now overhead. This is, by the way, 8:09 p.m. Oh shoot! That was lightning! Wow, I picked the right time to pick the camera up. Holy crap, February thunderstorm. Oh my god, what? I saw the lightning. I just caught that on camera too, what the heck? I just picked the camera up and started recording and immediately, flash of lightning. I didn't expect that to happen. Oh my god, what? This is the first time I have ever seen a thunderstorm in New England in February. We usually do not get those this time of the year. Usually not until like April or something. And we just saw a flash of lightning and heard a rumble of thunder. Wow. That was very unexpected. I was just about to pick the camera up to tell you that we're under another bout of heavy rain. Then a flash of lightning occurs, catching me completely off guard. That was crazy. Holy crap, I don't know what to say about that. Yeah, figures this is even lower now. This is actually everything in one. Oh my god. Alright. What does the old weather station here say? 976 millibars. I'm gonna go ahead and press the light icon on it because it might be hard to see it. Thunderstorm, 976 millibars, 36 degrees. Temperature's starting to drop, and we currently are actually under a thunderstorm, to my surprise. Was not expecting that. I don't know if I'm going to catch another strike of lightning, but caught one, and took me completely by surprise. I knew that rain band was moving in, but I did not think that it had energy to produce thunder and lightning. Apparently I was wrong. Well, anyways, let's go ahead and check what the weather is saying. So, weather app is just saying heavy rain. Nothing about thunder. Here's the radar, which probably is a little bit behind. Winds are going to swing up like crazy now. And a quick refresh on poweroutage.us shows that, well, it doesn't look like much has changed actually. Mississippi is blue again, they're back below 10,000, but that's it. Massachusetts is down to 3,000. Connecticut's still 25,000. New Hampshire still 3,000. Yeah, not a lot has changed here in New England, at least. That was wild. I actually caught a lightning strike on camera in mid-February. Don't know if that's going to happen again. I think that was a one-time thing. I don't think I have ever seen it before where New England has been under a thunderstorm in February. Alright, now just after 9 p.m., it's 9:10. We are transitioning between phases of the storm again. So we're beyond the precipitation now, it looks like, for the most part. There may be a few back-end showers. This is not updated, the radar. This is not the updated radar loop. If I click on it, it will show the right thing. You can see there's really not much more still left behind us. Or to the west, that is on its way here. Most of the precipitation has already moved through and out. But there's still a chance there may be a little bit more. We are definitely beyond the lowest pressure now as well. It is starting to go back up a little bit. It doesn't really say it on the app here, but I can look at my barometer and the weather station and show you what's going on with that. And now the wind is really starting to get going here. It's starting to pick up. So we're starting to get into the windy conditions now. And temperatures are also starting to fall off quickly. Let's go look at a more trustable source of information. I'll look at my barometer here too. Which, if I tap that, the needle is starting to regress back onto the actual scale. And the weather station down here is now showing 33 degrees. So the temperature has gone down and the pressure reading is now 977 millibars, which is actually up from 976 earlier, which officially is the lowest pressure reading that has been recorded. And because the temperature is falling, it's now calling for snow and wind rather than rain and wind. And, well, we'll see about that. I don't really think there's going to be much more precipitation. The pressure is about to go back up significantly after we hit a bottom of 976 earlier and saw a thunderstorm, which during February in New England, it's really not very common that happens. Yes, thunder snow has happened before, and I still remember when it happened during Winter Storm Juno in 2015. And thunder snow isn't too uncommon, but an actual thunderstorm this time of the year isn't very common. And I don't remember if I have actually seen that happen at this time of the year before. Because, if not, then this would be my first, but I really don't know. Because it's probably been a while since the last time it has happened. And, too dark to see out this way, but if I shut the light and look out this way, what we can see here is the street light being on. And if I can focus out there, still snow on the ground, but it doesn't appear that there's any precipitation still ongoing. So that is just about over, but I don't doubt that there's still a chance of some back-end precipitation. Let me flip this on for a second. Oh, that's a huge mess, and this is all about to refreeze, so that's not very good. There's a bunch of water drops up there along the bottom of the gutter, so that's also gonna freeze. And there's still snow in the backyard. That just timed out, so I'm gonna turn it back off. Turn that back on. This has been a giant, crazy, all-in-one winter storm so far. So far, what have we seen? We have seen around 5 to 6 inches of snow on the front end, heavy flooding rains, mixed precipitation, and now even a thunderstorm. Let's go ahead and refresh poweroutage.us, see if we got any new things to talk about here. It looks like down south they are recovering in the southern states. Up here, though, let's see, Pennsylvania. I guess Pennsylvania's kind of recovering. I don't know if they were 200K earlier or what, but Pennsylvania and Maryland are still red. Virginia is still very close to 100K, but they're just below it now, and West Virginia is at 50K. Connecticut still 24,000. Rhode Island is still 176. Massachusetts is a little bit lower now, 2,700. New Hampshire has gone back down almost to 0, which that's good. New York is at 42,000. I have not been paying attention to that, and that's not good. And they are getting lake effect snow, so I'm expecting it to be right around the lake here. And it's not. Okay, some of it is by the other one, Lake Erie, instead. But otherwise, most of the activity appears to be around here. Well, anyways, that's the latest data we got on poweroutage.us. Still, no power outages here. Everything has been good. And haven't had to put my Delta 3 Plus into actual backup power service yet. I still have it plugged in though, just in case we do lose power, because the wind is about to pick up like crazy overnight and into tomorrow, and it's going to be very windy throughout the day tomorrow, and crazy Arctic blast on the way that's going to cause everything to freeze over, and I am very concerned about what that could mean for a variety of things, you know, because everything is wet now after it has been raining all day. There's still snow on the ground from the front end snow that we got, because we got a lot more than expected, and now with this Arctic blast on the way, all of that is going to freeze, so there's going to be very much a lot of problems for traveling, because the roads are probably wet right now. No snow or frozen anything on them at the moment, but temperatures are quickly dropping, so they're going to freeze pretty quickly overnight. If they don't dry out, that is, and I highly doubt that they will. So we're going to have to see what happens with that. Not to mention everything that is also otherwise wet because of all the rain is going to freeze, and that definitely could cause problems, especially with the wind picking up. So we are not quite out of the woods yet. In fact, I have a funny feeling the worst of the storm is yet to come. Even though we've already seen almost all of the precipitation at this point, I am really concerned about this third phase that we're going to be entering in just an hour or two here, which is going to be the massive windy Arctic blast phase, where everything is going to freeze on the backside. So, yeah, that's what we had happening so far. That's what's been going on. Lots of snow, rain, even a thunderstorm with a strike of lightning, which by far was the only strike of lightning, and I just happened to catch that on camera at the right time. And, yeah, hopefully nothing goes terribly wrong, but, you know, can't take any chances, so my EcoFlow is going to remain plugged in, and we'll see what happens. I'll update you later. Okay, 10:14 now. The wind is definitely beginning to pick up here. It is on the upswing and is going to be rapidly increasing in strength throughout the night until we get to these strong winds. And they're going to be quite strong overnight and in the morning as well. They will be peaking in the early afternoon, it looks like. And then a little bit of a they will calm down a little bit for the evening hours. Tuesday will still be pretty windy. But by then, Winter Storm Jett will be out of here, and it's just going to be like general wind. Tomorrow is going to be the really, really windy day. And I am concerned about that because we have temperatures quickly dropping off right now. And they will fall very fast overnight, down to the 20s. We'll barely recover in the day tomorrow, and will fall even further going into Tuesday. That's not just here, of course, that's also down at the university, where winds are also picking up down there. They've picked up just a little bit earlier down there, it looks like. And they won't get to be as strong as they are right here, but still pretty strong. It's just that we don't ever hit 50 miles an hour in the wind gust forecast down there. Which is good. They're going to be a little bit weaker down there, so hopefully there's a better chance that things will stay afloat. But of course, I'm not here to take chances. I'm just here to see what happens, you know, for the video. This is what PowerOutage.us is saying. Pennsylvania and Maryland are still having problems. Connecticut is still around 25,000 out. Massachusetts has gone back up to 3,000 outages now. Rhode Island is holding steady. Vermont's now at 582. That's a pretty substantial increase from whatever it had earlier. Let's take a look. Yep, southwestern Vermont. And here we're also having another upswing. Now once again, it's mostly in this area, but I'm also seeing a bit of a green tint here. Western Massachusetts is starting to see some power outages. So, yeah, definitely some activity going on as the winds move in. Let's go check my weather station. Just as I thought. Alright. Looks like this is no longer forecasting precipitation, which that's definitely correct. It's saying 32.9 degrees, getting close to going below freezing. The pressure is, of course, going back up now, 979. Still got a long way to go before we get to a more normal air pressure, but it's going back up nonetheless. It's just that, you know, it dropped like crazy throughout the day. And we've got the flashing snowflake indicating that there's a chance of freezing, and the temperature definitely is going to be continuing to fall throughout the night. And honestly, props to this weather station, because it did a much better job at forecasting what would happen compared to the actual weather service, which wasn't really calling for thunderstorms here. It was pretty on the fence about that. And also seems to have the temperature estimates slightly off. This thing's recording the actual temperature. And this thing also called for thunderstorms at the right time, because we did end up seeing a thunderstorm. So yeah, this thing did a great job and has historically been better and more accurate than the actual weather service has for forecasting these weather events. Let's see if we can get a look outside. I'll go ahead and turn the back light on for a second here. Still outside, it looks like a mess. It looks like things actually might even be starting to freeze. Up there, the gutters are still wet. And there's a giant pile of snow over there that has not melted even with all the rain today. That's not good. The table's got a mess on it. And this light is automatic. Alright. Let's look out here. still snow out there on the ground. No active precipitation, as I mentioned. But there's still plenty on the ground from last night. Doesn't look like there's a lot of wind right now. It looks pretty calm. But I can tell that definitely is going to change. Usually, when we have a calm period like this, after a whole bunch of stormy weather or something like that, if it's very calm like that outside, that's once again not good. Because, yeah, we're about to have some serious action in terms of the wind and an Arctic blast following Winter Storm Jett. Which still, I guess, is part of the actual storm, because it is going around that low pressure, which is now to our north. So, yeah, we are not out of the system yet. Alright. I've just looked here to see that we, at around 4 hours ago, had just over 900,000 total outages across all of the US. Specifically this area, the eastern United States. Winter Storm Jett has held some massive impacts thus far, and it definitely isn't done. New York is on the increase as of right now, so is Massachusetts, in fact. Connecticut's kind of going back down, but Vermont's also increasing, so yeah. Quite concerning. And I'm going to look at Canada real quick, because there might even be some activity there as well. Yeah, Nova Scotia's starting to see some effects too, so is Quebec and Ontario. That's these three right here, which, of course, that figures, because they are also in the path of Winter Storm Jett. Nova Scotia is seeing impacts right now, as you can see. We've got these areas seeing some outages. Quebec, very dense counties down here, but some of them are seeing some impacts, and it says Ontario is missing some available information, but doesn't matter. Right here, there's a little bit going on. But of course, here we have New York. That was at 40,000 just a few minutes ago. Now it's only 39,000. Connecticut, 24,000 now. Oh my god. Massachusetts just jumped to 8,000. It was at 3,800 a second ago. Now it's at 8,800. So a whole bunch more just popped up. And it looks like they popped up here in Worcester County. That is not good. That's kind of concerning. Clearly the wind is moving to the east now. Because Berkshire County, this had reported a bunch of outages earlier, and now we have some new outages, a whole bunch more in Worcester County, further to the east. So, that's kind of bad. I am concerned. Thankfully, this is still nearly full. Display just shut off for a second, but it's going to turn back on in just a second. Yeah, there you go. Because I've currently got my blanket running again. And I'm also charging my phone off of my Delta 3 Plus right now, so that's where the extra 2 watts is coming from. But definitely looks like we are maybe looking at a higher chance of power outages going through the night. Alright, just want to show you focus first. Around 11:41 p.m. Turn my light off real quick. Maybe you'll be able to see the clouds. The moon is out. I don't think that's showing up. The clouds, though, are moving very quickly. And the wind is starting to pick up. Okay. My light will work here. This light's starting to get a little old. Okay, it still works though. Weather station is reporting closer to freezing temperatures now. And let's go ahead and turn the brightness up on the light a little bit so you can see that better. (981 millibars, so the pressure is definitely going back up. But it's not flying back up, and it still looks like it might remain a little on the low side overnight, and that definitely is going to be how we're going to be able to get such strong winds overnight. So, yeah, that is not terribly good. So thankfully, once again, I'm going to run through how we are prepared here. I will be heading back to Wiley tomorrow, though. Hopefully nothing is iced over too bad that will severely impact travel, because if that is the case, then there's going to be problems. But we've got a power failure light here that will automatically activate when the power failure occurs. Let's go ahead and look out this window real quick. Yeah, it's just about the same for everything. The trees are moving a little bit now, though, because the wind's starting to pick up. Not a lot, though. The winds are going to continue to get stronger, though. Still have time to go for that. I really need to get a new light. Alright, I also have another power failure light here in the kitchen. My light just failed again. So there's that. Thought the microwave clock was doing something for a second. No, it's perfectly fine. In fact, everything's fine. Here's the WR120, which surprisingly haven't gotten any alerts even with a system of this magnitude. And I think that's just neglect from the weather radio stations here, because the NOAA icon is staying lit steady, as you can see. It's not flashing, which means, of course,
41 degrees.
The reception is fine. So it's just them neglecting to send out any alerts. Which I guess we didn't get anything too severe here yet. That's still going. Keeping the humidity up a little bit because, well, as it gets cold, things are going to dry out. And, of course, here in my bedroom, EcoFlow Delta 3 Plus. Currently, it's charging up the other batteries for my camera. And it looks like it just topped itself back off again. It's at 100% once more. And, yeah. So, shall things go wrong tonight, I am prepared. Taking all the necessary precautions that I need to. Let's go ahead and do another, let me turn this on for a second to up the brightness of my computer. I really need to get a new light. This thing is not working too well anymore. I'll just trick my computer into turning its brightness up a little bit. There. And let's go ahead and refresh poweroutage.us and see if there are any new developments. Okay, yep, there are. Massachusetts is now yellow with 17,000 outages, which is a massive jump from earlier. New Hampshire and Vermont are also having some smaller jumps, but Massachusetts has the largest by far, because the winds are starting to move in. A lot of them are occurring in western Massachusetts for the moment. We have Franklin, now with 2,000 outages. Berkshire still the same, 1.7 thousand. And Worcester County now has 12,000 outages, up from 4,000 earlier when I showed you in the last update. So, power outages are on the rise for Massachusetts. Not good. And I do expect that this outage-prone area is going to continue to push eastward throughout the night as the winds continue to envelop more of New England. Because right now they've only really moved into the western half of Massachusetts. They're kind of still on their way in over here. But once they are in over here, then there are going to be a lot more outages on this side of the state. So I'm really going to have to watch for that. And let's see. Yeah, it looks like Massachusetts is the only state where we've had a significant increase as of right now. The rest of them, the numbers are going back down since they've already had their rounds of severe weather and stuff. But of course, the continued winds overnight in New England are going to result in an increase of power outages up here. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. And looks like we are entering the Arctic blast and strong wind phase now. Alright, the wind is here. 23 miles an hour, sustained, 47 gusting. Initially found out because I just heard a big gust. So, the wind is here now. Let's take a look outside. Oh, jeez. I'm out of focus. We've got water dripping off the street light over there. The wind just picked up like crazy just a few minutes ago. Up. That's great. If I stay quiet enough, you'll be able to hear it. And that's exactly what's happening. The wind has finally picked up outside. Well, I'm not gonna waste my time just watching it here. Got everything in terms of lighting turned off for the night. So that's why it looks dark throughout the house. Alright. We now have hit freezing, so the temperature is starting to drop a lot quicker now. The pressure is increasing a bit more. And obviously outside we're now dealing with wind. If I turn up the brightness of the light, you might be able to see outside better. Oh yeah, that's helping. I'm trying to take it off the camera and put it up against the window, see what that does. Definitely is helping to light the yard up. I'm not going to keep it like this. and this windy activity has only started just a few minutes ago. Not looking good, and I did see water dripping off of the street light outside. So that's not terribly good. Oh my god. Things on this window are annoying. Hope you can see out the window there. The trees are definitely moving around a lot more now. The wind has picked up substantially. Not good. Well, we're really going to be in the home stretch now, I guess. Or, I don't even know if I should be saying the home stretch. I'd say the grand finale, more so, because now we've got Stage 3. Bitter Arctic blast plus strong winds. This is the final thing that we are going to be looking at for Winter Storm Jett. And it finally has arrived. So far, we have seen much more snow than was forecasted. Tons of rain, flooding amounts even. A thunderstorm with a flash of lightning that I happened to catch on video. And now we are looking at an Arctic blast and strong winds. Truly everything in one storm system. And it was pretty intense too. The pressure was down in the 970s here, which is not even the center of the low. The center of the low actually was kind of conflicted between models. There were models that were saying it was over upstate New York, and other models saying it was offshore of New England. So I don't know what to believe. Maybe a broader area of low pressure, or there may be two centers of low pressure, but regardless, if right here we were observing 976 millibars, it's a pretty intense storm. That would put it, you know, with the low centers probably in a category 3 on the Venus City Nor'easter scale, so pretty serious. Obviously we've seen worse, but that's still pretty bad. The weather radio has still kept quiet though. Oh yeah, that's gonna do that, the water heater tank. When it gets windy or there's very heavy rain, this thing makes some odd sounds because of either water getting in it or the wind funneling through the pipe there. So that's just normal of the water tank. Won't mind that. But yeah, we're starting to see some wind gusts now. So I'm thinking it's only a matter of time before things hit the fan here. I'm gonna go ahead and dim my light. There. I'll go ahead and I can get the color wheel to cooperate, put it at like a deep red, deep orange, which will be rather dim as you can see there. There we go. That way I can go ahead, open up my blinds and maybe we can see what's going on outside. The glare from this light's not going to help. Thankfully 0% brightness is for some reason an option. You can't see out there still, other than a little blue light in the distance, which that's somebody else's stuff out there. Maybe even the glow of a high pressure sodium streetlight in the distance, and also now there's a plane passing over in the distance there as well. But very hard to see the skyline and stuff. In any case, let's go ahead and, oh shoot, my mouse isn't over here. Let's go ahead and refresh poweroutage.us again. Alright. Let me try that one more time. I don't know if I hit the keybind right. There we go. Alright. It's 15K out here in Massachusetts. Hopefully Worcester went back down to 8,000. Alright, 2,000 out in Essex, and still not too many over here, but that number might increase because we've got a full 24 hours worth of these winds. It's only just started and still expected to get stronger. So, yeah. Rhode Island is still looking okay. In Connecticut, let's check here. Yeah, figures most of it's in western Connecticut, also southwestern Connecticut more so. Looks like, so New Haven County has a lot. Litchfield County's got a lot too. Yeah. So, just in case you start seeing some funny activity, what I'm gonna do is plug in my, my watt meter into this socket, and we can monitor the voltage, which is currently holding steady at around 118, 119, but if there are any fluctuations, that'll show up. And it's fluctuating just a little right now. Let me up the brightness of this light. You'll be able to see the display better if I do that. And let's just check some of the various things here. Let's see, hertz still 60, that's good. Let's see, power factor, we've got 1. I don't think power factor is actually going to be affected by anything because I'm not pulling anything through the meter, but I'm going to be checking the voltage and the frequency, because the voltage is probably going to fluctuate if we get particularly strong winds, especially after all the precipitation and with the cold moving in, for things to be freezing and stuff. Not looking very good, so I'm going to be keeping track on this. It's already fluctuating a tiny bit, but not much. However, it's kind of a sign that things may end up going wrong. Definitely some big time gusts out there. Jeez. Don't worry. If I need extra light, you know, I've got my my camera light, but I've also got the flashlight for my radio here. So I'm good. I'm prepared. Backup light sources. This stupid thing. Can't be bothered to just stay out of the way. There we go, got some tree movement. This might not be the best window to record out of, honestly. Because of this stupid thing. So I need to find another better one. I can do this window, I guess. And the water here is pretty upset about the wind. I've turned my blanket off. It's not critical to be running that. And I'm gonna go ahead and disable the inverter on my Delta 3 Plus and unplug this. Dang it. Nothing's cooperating. So, you know, I need to have this ready to go if the power does go out. Alright. The voltage is up to 120.6. I'm guessing it went back up when I turned off my blanket. It's pretty stable right now, so I think we're good for the part, or for right now. I really need to get a new light. Well, that's a big gust. Those clouds are moving crazy fast. Presume there's gonna be no changes. I refreshed this like 5-10 minutes ago. Oh, we're up to 20,000 now. Okay, that's pretty bad. Well, the camera's still clinging on to 1, so I guess that's good, but there are outages popping up all over the rest of the state, so that's not terribly good. And yeah, the wind is definitely going to be the main driving factor here. New Hampshire has gone up as well. Although it's not in Rockingham anymore, it's actually Hillsborough now. But I am going to keep tabs on this. Okay, you should be able to see by the moon up there just how fast those clouds are moving. Yeah, that's another really bad sign of, you know, especially for wind. If you see the clouds moving this fast, that's not good. Because the clouds basically are directly in control of how much wind you're receiving. The faster they're moving, the faster, you know, anything in the atmosphere is moving, the stronger the wind is going to be. because these clouds are spinning around the low pressure center very quickly, so that's going to create some very strong winds here, of course. And these clouds are moving very quickly. So, yeah, that means the wind is going to be quite strong. And, that it is. There have been some pretty decent gusts so far. Sustained, it's only in the 20s, and it seems that we do get some lulls here and there. But it has gusted pretty good so far as well. There have been some decently strong gusts, and it's only expected to continue to grow in strength throughout the day tomorrow, so yeah, we are going to be under some serious winds now. The wind has picked up again. It was calm for a while earlier, now it's pretty aggressive again. That should hold, I guess. We did just have a big gust. Shoot. The water heater, yeah, it does kind of howl over the water heater whenever there's a pretty big gust. That's just how it is. The wind is pretty aggressive outside yet again. Let me see if I can get an update on what we're looking at for poweroutage.us. Alright. Hasn't really gone up, but it's barely gone down, so it's not very good. So, you could just roll with nothing's really changed all too much. We got a couple thousand in Maine now. They are dealing with some winter weather, of course, so that's to be expected. Don't have any red states anymore. Pennsylvania's finally dipped below 100K. But, yeah, the wind is pretty bad out there. And that's only gonna last, oh, I don't know, the whole 24-hour period of Monday. Here comes another gust. That's a 0%, I don't want to do that. My door was closed not by the wind outside, but by the circulation of the air because of the HVAC system. The moon's much higher up in the sky now. And yeah, like I said earlier, the clouds are moving crazy fast in the sky right now. So of course, we're gonna have some very strong winds out there. Oh yeah, that is showing up. Here comes another gust. Well, that didn't sound good. Alright, let me see if turning up the exposure will make any difference here. Doesn't look like it to me. Oh, those are moving fast. Well, I'm not gonna stand here all night. I need to get to sleep. Actually, one more thing. I forgot to show you. We are now officially below freezing. 28.9 degrees. Yeah, temperature's dropping fast. Pressure is steadily but slowly going back up. But, of course, things are now susceptible to freeze over outside. And there still is snow left over from when that was happening. Although snow was 24 plus hours ago at this point, when it was actually snowing. All that rain, you know, melted a lot of the snow. But there's still plenty of snow on the ground. And everything that did melt, any liquid water that's still there, that is all going to refreeze now. So isn't that just wonderful? The wind chills are already in the single... Let's turn this off. Wind chills are already in the single digits. Feels like 4 degrees already. I was saying 3 a few minutes ago. And we're going to be seeing below 0 wind chill as soon as 8 in the morning. And then, that's Tuesday. That's here, though. It's going to be a little bit better where I'm going to be going. Back to URI. It's going to be a little bit less effective there, but, you know, still pretty unbearable. It's going to be pretty bad in both instances, so right now it feels like 11 down there. And that's the range for Tuesday. It's a little bit better, but it's still pretty bad. But it's very windy out right now. That's going to persist. The wind is not going to be letting up. Here's the wind graph. It's going to be staying at this strength, even getting stronger in the afternoon. And it's already pretty strong, so yeah. But that's all I'm going to do for tonight, because I really want to get to sleep. If anything does happen throughout the course of the night that wakes me up, anything that's like particularly interesting, that'll be coming next. Otherwise, I'll see you in the morning. Yep, still windy. It's been windy the whole night. And it's still windy now. There have been some big gusts coming through. Like this one, for example. And as for what the ground looks like, that's what we're looking at. Even with the sun out, although there are a bunch of clouds that are moving quite quickly. You know, because low pressure up to the north is driving clouds very quickly around it. So, of course, it's going to lead to some very high winds. So we don't get entirely full sun because it's going to get interrupted at times, but what we've got now is very cold and windy out there, and things have frozen over. The sun might help to melt a little bit because it's not too far below freezing, but it is quite cold out there. See how cold we're talking, actually. .26 according to the weather. And the wind is at 27 miles an hour right now, gusting nearly to 50. I'm trying to close this thing. Alright, there we go. Conditions appear to be a little bit better at the university. But we can't forget, the next few days will be cold. So, yeah. Alright, your power outage US update. Things appear to be getting a little bit better here. Still not great, but they're better. Still plenty of people in the dark, at least in western Massachusetts. Things definitely have changed around here too. And holy crap. Alright, I don't like the look of this. A lot of southern Rhode Island outages showing up now. That's not good. I can check if the university was affected by looking at my devices. So if I pull that up, we get a connection. The humidifier ran out of water, so I had to fix that when I get back, but I am getting a connection to the hub, so the power is still on there. Good. We're not out of the woods yet, though, because the wind's gonna last the entire day today, so, once again, EcoFlow Delta 3 Plus, all ready to go. Alright. Pressure is returning to more normal levels. It's still below 1,000. And, let's see what the weather station is reporting. As you can see, it is saying it is warmer than the weather app is saying. It's saying 29.8 degrees. Don't know if there's any influence from the sun on that regard, but even if there is, that is still below freezing. And 996 millibars. Have not gone above 1,000 yet, so the pressure is still low. And outside, yeah, the pool cover ain't looking so good. And the wind. it's gonna be like this the whole day. So yeah, we really are not quite done with winter storms yet, but all the precipitation has fallen, unless these dark looking clouds are carrying some stray showers with them, but I kind of doubt that. However, there were some back-end bands last night further to the west, so that's not entirely out of the question. And even after all the rain yesterday, and with it getting up in the 40s, or at least close to that, we still have a positive snow depth change, because there was barely any snow cover left here from Garnett when I got here, and now there's plenty of snow cover, despite how much it rained yesterday after all the snow that fell. And that's because the snow was under forecasted by a lot, and because of how quickly it got cold outside following the rain. So we still ended up getting positive snow depth change after all of that. This has been a crazy winter storm. And, definitely by far the biggest one in years, because of everything that went down, not only here but in many other states on the eastern side of the US. States in the south were dealing with flooding, and up here we've got quite a bit of snow, also flooding concerns, and now everything freezing over. And of course the wind as well, we can't forget about that. And yeah, this has been a brutal winter storm thus far. And I can't even say it's over, because we're in the backside Arctic blast phase now. So there's still a little ways to go before we're completely beyond Winter Storm Jett. Alright, here's from the kitchen window. Trees in the distance are moving around like crazy because of the wind. And the lines being run to the house here are also dancing around in the wind. You can probably see them better if I look at them through here. Yeah, you can really see how much they're moving around thanks to the influence of the wind. And a better shot of the snow from here as well. Everywhere that the snow wasn't cleared off of is still completely covered in snow. It's not 6 inches deep anymore like it was Saturday night, but there's still plenty of it. Jeez, this has been quite a winter storm. Oh man. Out this window. Once again, still plenty of snow to go around. And the wind moving the trees around. Definitely more interesting to see the taller trees with all the wind, because those ones get bent around a lot more. And this is just expected to continue for the rest of the day. Well, I guess Winter Storm Jett's going on the retired list. I don't see why I wouldn't. And still have not gotten any NOAA alerts. Not that I expect we would at this point, because the storm is pretty much beyond us. It's just we have this Arctic blast wind phase left to go. Which, well, in itself is still pretty bad, but no more risk of thunderstorms or flooding rains or snow or anything like that. Just bitter cold and wind. Okay, so this is when we were on our way back. So I was on the way back to the University of Rhode Island because I had to get back for classes the following day. My parents were playing music on the radio, so I have to do a voiceover here. Look at the massive snow piles outside of my middle school. Those are huge. And yeah, snow all over the ground even after all of the rain. Winter storm was crazy. There was a whole bunch of stuff that came with it. All that snow, and the rain just could not melt at all because we got so much of it. It was like 6+ inches. Well, it wasn't really 6+, but there was at least 5 to 6 inches of snow. And yeah, I have not seen an aftermath like this since 2018. Although there were bigger and badder storms then, and there's probably still potential for more storms this winter storm season, just knowing how it's gone so far. This is the 5th storm within a month. So it's been very active, and this has so far been the biggest one of the month. Not in terms of snowfall totals, although definitely a close second to Winter Storm Garnett for that regard. However, there was so much more compared to just snow. You know, all the rain, the thunder, the lightning, the wind and the Arctic blast, a whole bunch of stuff happened with this winter storm. It was remarkable. And so, still all of this snow on the ground, and with the cold air being set in place at this point, anything that was liquid water or melted or, you know, any rain that had fallen pretty much has frozen over, so you're going to be seeing ice patches as we're moving along here as well. So, you know, snow in most spots where it hasn't been cleared off, and it's evident that parking lots and streets have been cleared off, but there are some places where the snow has been piled up very high from having it cleared off, and yeah, you can see it hasn't melted. And in other spots, plenty of ice because of all the rain and then the Arctic air settling in with very strong winds. So you can see some ice there as well, and we're going to be coming up on right there what looks like a skating rink, basically. There were other what looked like skating rinks on the way as well, because they were just massive sheets of ice in several spots where plenty of water was able to just sit, and that obviously all froze over throughout the night. So, yeah, and you can see it's still very windy. Those banners, they were blowing around in the wind. The tops of those trees there are kind of, not really, but kind of flailing around there. It really depends on when the big gusts hit. That tiny one there. There's another snow pile. That one's particularly dirty. Obviously the snow's going to be completely clean. And even over there on that gas station, some snow piles. The storm packed quite a punch with numerous impacts. And those trees there, you can see them swinging around in the wind as well. Wind is still in effect at this point. Alright, so I'm back at the apartment now. I had to revive a few things. This humidifier is going. This room held okay, looks like. So, we're all good there. I gotta get this humidifier going again, but I'll deal with that later. The weather radio obviously never went off or anything, because it's still flashing check reception every few seconds. Wait till it, does it again. Yeah, there it goes. So obviously no alerts came through here. My other EcoFlow here, still holding on to a little over half a charge there. Obviously it wasn't used over the weekend. And now here, still see the effects of the wind. It's not quite as windy here as it is back home, but it's still pretty windy. And, yep, you guessed it, there's snow on the ground here too. This has been a one-in-a-kind winter storm that we have seen every single kind of natural disaster conform into one, basically. Well, I wouldn't really say every kind, because there's some that aren't precipitation-based that did not happen. Like, there wasn't an earthquake in the midst of the storm, there wasn't a drought in the midst of the storm, or anything like that, no wildfire in the midst of the storm. But most other things, like there was a thunderstorm, lots of snow, flooding rains, a whole bunch of stuff. It's been a crazy storm. Now it's just, the rest of today and we will be good. The storm will be out of here. But we're still kind of under the influence of the low pressure because it's pretty windy outside, so we just make it to the end of today and we will be good. Alright, now it's 3 in the morning on the next day, 18th of February. And yeah, I think I can pretty much wrap it up here. This has been a crazy journey through Winter Storm Jett. Massive storm, a lot of impacts. It was just, a whole bunch of everything. Or, I wouldn't say a whole bunch of everything, but at least a little bit of everything. I mean, there was all the snow on the front end, and all the flooding rains, the heavy rain, and even thunder and lightning. Plus the back end Arctic blast and the winds. I was outside in the volleyball court. Outside this building is just a massive sheet of ice right now. I could show you tomorrow. I'm not going to go outside right now because it's 3 in the morning and I have to get to sleep. But it's just a massive sheet of ice out there. In fact, there's a lot of things that are frozen out there. Because, well, it's extremely cold out right now. What are we even looking at here? 17 degrees. That's very cold. It's continuing to go further down. By the way, we are no longer expected to see impacts from Winter Storm Kingston. That has shifted away from the area. If that changes, you will be seeing that as the 6th winter storm in the Feb25 chain, but otherwise that is now off the table, and Winter Storm Jett will be the official conclusion to this crazy winter storm chain, having been the largest winter storm by far, and having had the most impacts. And being so cold outside, it's also extremely dry. The dew point is in the single digits, so I need to keep humidifiers running in order to keep humidity levels tolerable inside. It's not too bad in here, I've got it up at 61% because I've got this warm mist humidifier going, and these are very effective at raising the moisture, especially without, costing you any temperature. In fact, it even kind of raises the temperature a little bit too. The only issue is they are very power hungry. These take a lot of power to get the job done. Other styles of humidifiers like evaporative and ultrasonic, they are a lot more efficient, but of course they aren't quite as effective. And I think part of the reasoning for the ultrasonic humidifier out in the living room not being as effective is because I'm asking more out of it, because it has to humidify a larger area. So I just refilled this all the way up, so you can see the water is pretty much at the top there by the fill line. You can't really see it from this angle. And in here we're looking at not very good. It's 74 degrees, 34% relative humidity. Temperatures, of course, okay, but the humidity is kind of on the low side. And there's definitely, some losses through the windows here, because this building has a problem with drafty windows. It's still kind of windy outside, in fact. And It's quite dark out, it's hard to see all that, but there's still so much snow and frozen precipitation on the ground. Snow, ice, you name it. It's all there. And it's just so cold out. So I think what I'm going to do to help mitigate that... That's the wrong way. I'm going to lower the blinds here so that it's covering the cracks of the windows here. I know you can't see pretty much at all, but you can at least hear what I'm doing. So hopefully this will help to block out some of that draft. Because it's mainly coming in right where the windows are sealing. You know, right where the windows open up from, so figure if I block that, then that will reduce the losses that we're getting. But yeah, we actually never lost power. I never lost power in either location, actually. Not here or back home. Both places have managed to stay powered up. Haven't had a power outage in either location. Despite what we saw in PowerOutage.us, where there were a crazy number of power outages all across the eastern side of the United States from this winter storm because of various things such as the historic flooding in particularly Kentucky and Virginia, all the severe weather in Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, and of course the freezing rain, mixed precipitation, snow and ice and stuff up here, along with the Arctic blast and the strong winds throughout the day, which the only New England states that were ever anything other than blue on PowerOutage.us were Massachusetts and Connecticut. And for Rhode Island's got a smaller population, so obviously it's a lot harder to see a lot of outages in Rhode Island, but northern New England didn't really see too many severe impacts. But yeah, that's, you know, regardless, the power has stayed on here the whole time and back home. So, can definitely say we succeeded in surviving Winter Storm Jett. Obviously, yeah, it was a crazy winter storm. But it is finally over. So, yeah, I definitely would like to show you the volleyball court, but once again, I just don't feel like doing that. I may or may not get a photo of it and insert that in editing, but just take my word for it. It is a massive sheet of ice as of right now. But without further ado, that is going to wrap up this video. I know it was a very long one. Winter Storm Jett had a massive punch that it was packing. So, obviously a lot to the video. And this EcoFlow held up fine, being left here over the weekend. And of course my Delta 3 Plus was on standby the whole time while I was at home. You know, just in case the power did go out, which thankfully it never did. But that is going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching. This has been a crazy journey through Winter Storm Jett. We will see if there are any more storms for the winter storm season that occur, but unless Winter Storm Kingston changes course and comes to affect New England again, this is it for the Feb25 chain. And I will see you in the next video, whenever that will be.